My beloved child, don't skip, because this story begins with a moment that looked completely ordinary, yet it quietly changed everything. Last night, someone you never expected entered your soulmate's evening with a single question that no one saw coming. At first, it seemed like casual conversation, the kind that disappears with the passing hours. But then she paused, looked directly at your soulmate, and softly asked about you. The room grew strangely quiet. Your name carried a weight that surprised everyone there, including the one who heard it. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. What followed was not an argument, not a confession, but a conversation that forced hidden emotions into the light. For the first time in a long time, your soulmate stopped pretending that your memory had faded. Instead of changing the subject, they found themselves reflecting on the moments they had tried so hard to ignore. That unexpected question became the beginning of a night they would never forget. No one could have guessed where the conversation would lead next. The girl wasn't asking to create drama or stir confusion. She simply wanted to understand why your name carried such quiet significance. Every answer your soulmate attempted seemed incomplete, as though the truth was larger than words. They spoke about respect, admiration, unfinished conversations, and lessons that still echoed in their heart. Don't skip, because the most surprising part hadn't happened yet. With every passing minute, your soulmate realized that running away from honest feelings had never erased them. Instead, silence had only made those emotions stronger. The question they thought would disappear continued to echo long after the conversation ended, leaving them with thoughts they could no longer ignore. As the night came to a close, nothing looked different on the outside, but everything felt different within. Sometimes life changes through loud announcements, and sometimes it changes because of one simple question asked at exactly the right moment. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The next decision your soulmate would make was influenced not by pressure, fear, or regret, but by a new understanding they had never allowed themselves to face before. That is where this story truly begins. What happened after that conversation would reveal unexpected truths, challenge old assumptions, and open a path that neither of them imagined. And in the next part, the hidden meaning behind that unforgettable question will finally begin to unfold. A different feeling settled over the rest of the evening, and your soulmate could not escape it. The conversation had ended, yet your name remained in every quiet thought. Don't skip, because what happened next carried far more meaning than anyone expected. The girl noticed the silence and gently asked one final question: if this person suddenly stood in front of you today, would your heart feel peace or regret? No one answered immediately. That single sentence reached deeper than any ordinary conversation ever could. Your soulmate looked away, not because they had nothing to say, but because the answer had been hidden inside for a long time. Memories they believed had disappeared returned one after another, small moments of kindness, genuine conversations, and the quiet impact you had made without even realizing it. Sometimes a heart does not change in a dramatic instant. Sometimes it changes because someone finally asks the question it has been avoiding all along. As the hours passed, your soulmate began replaying old memories from a completely different perspective. Things that once seemed ordinary suddenly felt valuable. They realized that some people leave a lasting impression not through grand gestures, but through consistency, patience, and authenticity. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Every attempt to distract themselves only brought another reminder of the conversation. The words echoed again and again until they understood that the night had become more than just another evening. It had quietly challenged everything they believed about moving forward. Instead of looking at the past with uncertainty, they started recognizing the lessons that had shaped them and the respect they still carried for someone who had influenced their journey more than they had ever admitted. Before the night finally ended, your soulmate made no dramatic promises and spoke no life-changing declarations. Instead, something much more powerful happened. They chose complete honesty with themselves. Don't skip, because this is where the story begins to shift. They understood that unanswered questions never disappear on their own, and that avoiding meaningful conversations only allows them to grow heavier with time. A new sense of clarity slowly replaced confusion, and for the first time in a long while, they felt ready to stop hiding from their own thoughts. But that wasn't the biggest surprise. The following morning would bring an unexpected discovery connected to that unforgettable conversation, one that would reveal a detail no one had noticed before. And once that hidden piece came into view, everything they believed about you would begin to change. The morning arrived quietly, but the thoughts from the previous night had not faded. They had only become clearer. Don't skip, because this was the moment your soulmate realized that some conversations continue long after the words have ended. As they went about their day, they unexpectedly came across something that reminded them of you. It wasn't planned. It wasn't dramatic. Yet it stopped them in their tracks. A familiar phrase, a place, or a memory carried the same feeling they had tried to leave behind. Suddenly, the question from the night before returned with even greater force. Why had your name continued to appear at exactly the moments they least expected? Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Instead of pushing the thought away, they allowed themselves to sit with it. For the first time, they weren't searching for excuses, they were searching for understanding. Every reflection led to one simple truth: some people leave an impact that time cannot easily erase. A quiet sense of curiosity began replacing uncertainty. Your soulmate started seeing old situations through a new perspective, recognizing details that had once been overlooked. They remembered moments when you showed patience instead of pride, understanding instead of judgment, and kindness without expecting anything in return. Those memories now carried a meaning they had never fully appreciated before. Don't skip, because the story is only getting stronger. The more they reflected, the more they realized that first impressions often hide deeper truths. Sometimes people understand someone's value only after enough time has passed for them to see the whole picture. That realization didn't bring fear, it brought clarity. And clarity has a way of changing the direction of every future decision. Deep inside, they knew that pretending nothing had changed was no longer possible. As the day drew closer to its end, another unexpected moment arrived. Someone casually mentioned your name again, without knowing anything about the conversation from the previous night. It was such a small coincidence that most people would have ignored it, yet your soulmate couldn't. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They quietly wondered whether life was encouraging them to stop avoiding the questions that had been following them for so long. No dramatic scene unfolded, but something even more important happened. A decision began forming in their heart. Not a decision driven by pressure, but one built on honesty, respect, and a desire to understand what truly mattered. What they would discover next would challenge every assumption they had carried until now, and the next chapter of this journey would reveal why that single question from last night was only the beginning of a much bigger story. A quiet evening arrived once again, but this time everything felt different. The conversation from the previous night had left a question that refused to disappear. Don't skip, because what happened next was something your soulmate never expected. While looking through old memories, they noticed a pattern that had always been there but had never truly been understood. Every time they had reached an important crossroads in life, your presence, whether through a memory, a lesson, or a simple reminder, had somehow appeared. It wasn't about coincidence anymore. It was about recognizing the value of someone whose influence had quietly shaped their journey. The more they reflected, the more they realized they had been measuring the past with the wrong perspective. Instead of focusing on what was missing, they began appreciating what had always been meaningful. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. A new understanding was beginning to replace every old assumption. Not long afterward, another unexpected conversation unfolded. This time, no one asked a dramatic question. Instead, someone simply said, "Sometimes the people who change us the most are the ones we understand the latest." Those words landed with surprising force. Your soulmate paused, unable to ignore how perfectly they reflected everything they had been feeling since the night before. Don't skip, because this is where the story quietly transforms. They realized that true connection is often recognized through reflection rather than excitement. It isn't always the loudest voice that stays with us, it is the one that continues to bring peace long after the conversation has ended. That thought remained with them throughout the day, growing stronger with every passing hour. The uncertainty that once surrounded your memory slowly gave way to respect, gratitude, and a genuine desire to understand what had been overlooked. As the sun began to set, your soulmate made one silent promise to themselves. They would no longer ignore the lessons hidden inside the past. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They knew the next step wasn't about rushing toward answers but about allowing honesty to guide every future choice. What began with one unexpected question had now become a journey of self-discovery, revealing truths that could no longer be pushed aside. Yet the greatest surprise had not arrived. A message, a meeting, or an unexpected opportunity was closer than they realized, and it would connect everything that had happened so far into one unforgettable moment. The next part reveals the turning point that changes the direction of this entire story. A new day unfolded with an unusual sense of calm, but beneath that calm, something was changing. My beloved child was no longer part of the thoughts running through your soulmate's mind, only the memory of the journey remained. Don't skip, because the next few moments would reveal why the previous night was only the beginning. Throughout the day, little reminders continued appearing in the most unexpected places. A familiar song, a meaningful phrase, and even a passing conversation seemed to point toward the same lesson. Your soulmate slowly realized that some connections are remembered not because they demand attention, but because they quietly leave wisdom behind. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen?" they began asking, what was I meant to learn? That single change in perspective opened a door they had never noticed before. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The more they reflected, the clearer everything became. They understood that rushing to conclusions had hidden the deeper truth for far too long. Looking back with patience, they recognized qualities they had once overlooked. Kindness that expected nothing in return, strength that remained calm during uncertainty, and sincerity that never needed to prove itself. Don't skip, because the biggest discovery wasn't about the past, it was about who they were becoming now. Every lesson from the previous conversation started fitting together like pieces of a puzzle. For the first time, they felt gratitude instead of confusion. They realized that growth often begins the moment we stop defending old assumptions and become willing to see life through a clearer lens. What once felt unfinished now felt like an opportunity to move forward with greater wisdom. As evening approached, a quiet certainty settled into their heart. There was no dramatic announcement and no sudden miracle, only the peaceful confidence that truth has a way of revealing itself at the right time. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate understood that meaningful decisions should never be driven by impulse but by honesty, patience, and respect. And just when they believed the journey had finally become clear, an unexpected piece of information reached them, something connected to you that they had never heard before. It wasn't a rumor or a secret. It was a simple truth that challenged everything they had believed until now. That single discovery would become the turning point of the entire story, and what happens next will reveal why this journey was leading to a moment neither of you could have predicted. A quiet truth finally came into focus, and it arrived without warning. Don't skip, because this chapter changes everything you thought you understood. The unexpected information your soulmate received was not shocking because it was dramatic. It was shocking because it was honest. They discovered that many of the assumptions they had carried about you were incomplete. Piece by piece, they began to see a fuller picture, one that revealed your quiet resilience, your genuine character, and the strength you showed even when no one was watching. That realization stayed with them throughout the day. Instead of judging the past through old emotions, they started viewing it through fresh understanding. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Sometimes the greatest turning points begin when someone finally chooses to see another person as they truly are rather than through old misunderstandings. As the hours passed, your soulmate noticed something else. Every conversation they had after that discovery seemed to reinforce the same lesson: people are often understood too late. Those words echoed in their heart, not as regret, but as motivation to become wiser. Don't skip, because the next step was unlike anything they had imagined. They no longer felt the need to rush toward answers. Instead, they wanted every future decision to be built on honesty, patience, and respect. The memories that once felt confusing now carried purpose. They realized that every challenge had quietly shaped both of you into stronger people. What once appeared to be an ending now looked more like a chapter that had been preparing both hearts for greater maturity and deeper understanding. As evening settled once again, your soulmate stood at a crossroads, not between the past and the future, but between uncertainty and clarity. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They made one silent decision, never again would they allow assumptions to speak louder than truth. That decision brought an unexpected sense of peace, yet another surprise was already on its way. Within the next chapter, an ordinary moment would lead to an extraordinary conversation, one that would reveal a hidden detail connected to your story, a detail no one had noticed before. And when that final piece falls into place, everything that began with one simple question on that unforgettable night will suddenly make perfect sense. A single ordinary moment became the beginning of something unforgettable. Don't skip, because this is where every previous chapter starts connecting together. Your soulmate wasn't searching for another sign, yet one appeared naturally. During a simple conversation, someone described you with words your soulmate had never expected to hear: calm, dependable, thoughtful, and quietly inspiring. There was no exaggeration and no attempt to impress anyone. Just sincere observations that carried unexpected weight. Hearing those words from someone else made your soulmate pause. They realized that the image they had been holding onto was incomplete. The more they listened, the more they understood that genuine character often speaks through the lives it quietly touches. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The story was no longer about wondering what had happened. It was about discovering what had been hidden in plain sight all along. As the day continued, your soulmate found themselves reflecting with a completely different mindset. Old memories no longer felt confusing, they felt meaningful. They remembered conversations that once seemed ordinary but now revealed kindness, patience, and quiet strength they had overlooked. Don't skip, because the next discovery was even more powerful. They began asking themselves a question they had never considered before: what if I misunderstood the most important part of this story? That thought changed everything. Instead of looking backward with uncertainty, they looked forward with wisdom. Every lesson from the past had prepared them to recognize value more clearly than ever before. The answers they had been chasing were not hidden in dramatic moments but in the quiet consistency that had always been there. That realization brought a sense of peace they had not felt in a long time. As night approached, your soulmate understood that true clarity doesn't arrive all at once, it unfolds one honest step at a time. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They quietly accepted that meaningful connections deserve understanding rather than assumptions, patience rather than haste. Yet just when everything seemed to be settling into place, an unexpected opportunity appeared. One that could bring an important conversation much closer than anyone imagined. No promises were made, and no future was guaranteed, but the possibility itself carried hope. The next chapter reveals what happened when that opportunity finally arrived, and why one simple decision had the power to change the direction of this entire journey forever. A new chapter quietly began, and no one around your soulmate realized how important that day would become. Don't skip, because every moment has been leading here. The opportunity that appeared wasn't loud or dramatic. It arrived through an ordinary circumstance that gave your soulmate time to reflect instead of react. They realized that meaningful conversations are built on honesty, not assumptions. For the first time in a long while, they stopped asking themselves what others expected and started asking what was genuinely true. That simple shift changed everything. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The memories that once brought uncertainty now carried wisdom. Instead of focusing on what could not be changed, they focused on what could still be understood. In that quiet moment, they recognized that growth is often invisible until one day it becomes impossible to ignore. As the hours passed, another unexpected detail came into view. A trusted friend shared a simple observation. The people who leave the strongest impression are usually the ones who stay true to themselves. Those words stayed with your soulmate long after the conversation ended. Don't skip, because this was the final piece they had been missing. They understood that your story had never been defined by one conversation or one misunderstanding. It had been shaped by consistency, respect, and quiet strength over time. Looking back, they saw how every challenge had taught valuable lessons instead of creating permanent distance. That new perspective filled their heart with gratitude rather than confusion. The journey that began with one unexpected question had now become a journey of deeper understanding, revealing that some truths can only be recognized after patience has done its work. As evening settled for the final time in this story, your soulmate felt something they hadn't experienced in a long time. Clarity. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They understood that the greatest discoveries are not about dramatic endings but about becoming wiser, kinder, and more honest than before. Whatever comes next will be built on truth rather than assumptions and on understanding rather than fear. And perhaps that is the greatest revelation of all. Sometimes the most life-changing moment is not when everything around us changes, but when the way we see someone changes forever. The question that started this entire journey had finally served its purpose, leaving behind a lesson that would remain long after the conversation itself had faded into memory. The story could have ended there, but life had one final surprise waiting in silence. Don't skip, because this last chapter reveals why every previous moment mattered. Your soulmate finally understood that the question asked that night had never been about collecting information. It had been about uncovering the truth hidden beneath old assumptions. Looking back, they could clearly see how every conversation, every memory, and every unexpected reminder had gently guided them toward a deeper understanding. Nothing had been wasted. Every lesson had prepared them to recognize sincerity, appreciate quiet strength, and value the kind of character that remains steady even when no one is watching. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The greatest change wasn't happening around them, it was happening within them. Their perspective had shifted, and with it came a peace they had been searching for all along. As the next morning began, your soulmate no longer carried the same uncertainty that had followed them for so long. Instead, they carried clarity. They realized that meaningful connections cannot be measured by passing opinions or temporary circumstances. They are revealed through honesty, respect, and the lasting impact people leave on one another's lives. Don't skip, because this final truth brings the entire journey together. The unexpected question from that unforgettable night had become the spark that encouraged deeper reflection, wiser choices, and a renewed appreciation for what truly matters. Every step had led to this quiet realization: the strongest bonds are built patiently, one genuine moment at a time. Sometimes the most important answers arrive only after we are willing to ask better questions. As this journey comes to its close, remember that every meaningful story begins with curiosity but reaches its destination through understanding. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The greatest revelation was never a dramatic secret, it was the discovery that truth becomes clearer when hearts choose wisdom over assumptions and kindness over conclusions. Your soulmate walked away from that unforgettable conversation carrying a new perspective, one that would shape every decision they made from that day forward. And perhaps that is the real message hidden within this story. When people choose honesty, growth, and respect, even the smallest conversation can become the beginning of a completely different future. The night that started with one unexpected question ended by changing the way they saw everything that truly mattered. A season had quietly come to an end, but another was just beginning. Don't skip, because this final chapter holds the lesson that ties every moment together. Your soulmate no longer searched for answers in whispers, opinions, or assumptions. They had learned that truth reveals itself through time, character, and consistent actions. As they reflected on everything that had unfolded since that unforgettable night, one realization stood above the rest. The most valuable people are often the ones whose impact is understood only after careful reflection. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The question that once seemed ordinary had become the doorway to wisdom, replacing uncertainty with clarity and replacing hesitation with quiet confidence. Looking back, they understood that every unexpected conversation had prepared them to see what had been there all along. The journey had transformed more than memories. It had transformed perspective. Every lesson, every unexpected reminder, and every quiet moment of reflection had shaped your soulmate into someone who valued honesty above assumptions. Don't skip, because the greatest discovery was still unfolding. They realized that genuine connections are never built on dramatic moments alone. They grow through trust, respect, patience, and the courage to understand another person's heart without rushing to conclusions. That truth became the foundation for every choice they would make moving forward. What once felt uncertain now carried purpose, and what once seemed confusing now revealed a path filled with wisdom. Sometimes the biggest breakthrough is not finding a new answer but seeing an old story through completely new eyes. As this story reaches its final page, one message remains stronger than every mystery that came before. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Life often changes through quiet moments that seem insignificant until we look back and recognize their true value. Your soulmate left that unforgettable chapter with gratitude instead of regret, understanding instead of confusion, and hope instead of doubt. The unexpected question from that night became the beginning of a journey that reshaped their heart and their outlook forever. And perhaps that is the greatest ending any story can have. Not a promise about tomorrow, but the confidence that truth, kindness, and wisdom always leave a lasting mark on those willing to learn from them.